Hey, welcome back to the exciting episode of YOML. Today we're trying to, I think we want to keep the theme of the inspirations of, human power and whatnot. So let's do a reflection for 167, and I'll let Chris review his reflection title, and we can talk about.
Yeah, so this book is book 167 or Reflection 167.
What is
And it's called Mountains Beyond Mountains: The Quest of Dr. Paul Farmer, a Man Who Would Cure the World, by the author Tracy Kidder. So this is a I don't know what these are called. I asked you guys this the other day. When somebody else writes
a
a biography,
biography?
yeah, but if somebody else writes about your life, is that a biography or is
It's a
that a
biography.
Okay, so that's a biography. So this is a biography of Paul Farmer's life with his help, though. Like he's still alive and he wrote it with the author. So is that like an
Right,
autobiography?
it's a
You know?
biography. Regardless
Okay.
of whether you're alive or you're dead, it's a biography if someone writes it. If you write your own, then it's an autobiography. Most biography
Yeah.
are done when a person's alive because they go and they interview the person, say,
Right.
okay, tell me about your childhood, and the writer would start to gather the information and do that. Um,
There you go.
if you
Yeah.
don't, then it's so to me the biography of most famous people, right? It's harder to write because they have to go and collect all the notes that
Right.
whatever remnants of um, the notes and writings of that person and trying to replicate. But in a biography of somebody who's living, it's probably easy. Just go have dinner with them for a couple of hours a day for the next
Right.
6 months to a year, and you get everything. He'll tell you
Yeah.
everything about his life, about what he gone through. That's the easiest way. The hardest way, which is not very common, is to have a biography of somebody who is passed on and you didn't write it and you didn't ask the question. So
Right.
um,
Then you're like doing something about Shakespeare or something like that, and it's like,
correct.
centuries later. So yeah, okay, I'm with you. All right, so this is a biography about this guy who's named Paul Farmer. He's a doctor. And actually I think he just passed away recently. But this
Okay.
guy is his life calling was to cure infectious diseases around the world, and to bring modern medicine to those who need it the most. So most of his time he spent down in Haiti. Haiti is like where his like true passion was. That's where he basically lived there. I mean
Mm-hmm.
he was a Harvard infectious disease doctor, so he would just to keep his grants up and stuff like that. He would spend a certain portion of the year in Boston at Harvard, but most of the rest of the year he was usually traveling around and lived in Haiti to run clinics and things like that to bring modern medicine practices to people that didn't have access to it. And he saved a lot of people's lives. So, I mean, this was like his life's purpose, right? So this particular reflection is uh, it's about the power of purpose. So I will share my screen. And so Paul Farmer, like I was talking about, like this guy had a purpose. I mean, I'm not even joking. Like he from sun up to sundown, this guy was obsessed. Like he every single day of his life, I mean, that's all they thought about was like, how can I help people that need help with infectious disease around the world that doesn't have
Mm-hmm.
access to these medical solutions. It didn't matter if it was the tiniest little dent or if it was a massive big thing. He was like every single day he was like, what can I do today? What can I do now? How can I help? I don't care if I got to go hike 5 miles up up a hill to get to the most remote person in the middle of nowhere in Haiti. Like I'm gonna go do that. Like these are the things that this guy did. He just did completely unscalable things. And that's what everybody used to make fun of him about, honestly, from like the broader medical community was, you know, like this guy's nuts. Like, the stuff that he does, like, isn't possible for other people to do. Like, cause he would go to just extreme lengths to help people in general. And that was his purpose. I mean, every single day, like that's all that he thought about. That's all he cared about. That's all that he did. So this book is really a biography following him, following his life, and the author literally followed him around the world and saw all the meetings that he went to, all the things that he was in, all the clinics that the time in the clinics when he was there, all the people that he was helping. Like he just observed this guy's life for a few years and wrote his biography and interviewed him along the way. But really, at the end of the day, like every action that guy did had a purpose. I mean, and I'm not even joking. I mean, it was insane. He gave up his own family and his own children, like, and his own wife. Like, he never saw him. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that, like, this is the power that purpose has over us. And when you hear stories like Paul Farmer's, all I could ever think of was, how just incredibly powerful, purpose can be to drive action. Purpose is just one of the most remarkable things in this earth, and one of the most unique things I think that humans have. It's beavering, whatever you want to call it, beavering, purpose. Like, it doesn't matter to me. But what, like, once purpose takes control of the wheel, once you know what your purpose is, it just makes decisions easy, right? Like you said, a beaver must dam. Like, they don't, a beaver doesn't wake up every single day and go, do I dam
I'm not gonna
today?
dam today.
Right, like like Paul Farmer had a purpose, and every
Right.
single day it was, I am here to cure infectious diseases for people that need help in countries that don't have access to this kind of stuff. I mean, these were basic things that he was doing, like blocking and tackling and stuff like that, for what we think of a in our world. But for these people, that these were like revolutionary things that, like, of just antibiotics or vaccines, or understanding what these diseases were and being able to give them actual things to help them. So Paul used to say, like, he feels most alive when he was helping people, and that's what purpose does. That's when you feel you're most alive, right? And I went on to, for the rest of this reflection, to kind of more talk about, I know how it feels, because, like, I feel the most alive when I get to do this stuff, living for two with my daughter every single day, and living my purpose every single day, which is, the reflection that I wrote this morning, which was taking a run in the treadmill in the hotel that I'm at, with Amelia. It's this conversation with you. It's the one-on-one that I just had with one of my employees, where I was just asking him about his life, and we were just going through a lot of the stuff, and we were talking about, why he's here and what he wants to accomplish, and what matters to him, and how I can help him to get that. Like, these are the things for me that I imagine myself doing with my daughter, and that is my living my purpose, which is living for two, right? And that's when I feel most alive. That's when I feel the most energy. That's when I feel like I feel the same way that Paul feels. Like, that's all that I think about, really, for the most part, when I wake up, is like, how can I continue to do the stuff that makes me feel the most alive, and things I can stay connected with my daughter with every single day. That's the power of purpose. It's amazing. Like, it just gives you 100% direction as to where you want to go, and then it takes away all those other decisions. But I did want to, like, pause real fast at the end of this reflection, where there's always as with everything in life, there's always another side of the coin to purpose. And you and I've talked about this a few times. While it's great to know exactly what you want to do, and how you want to do it every single day, and guide your actions, it simplifies life a lot. But at the same time, there's a double-edged sword to purpose, in my opinion. I can't not do it either, because every single time that I think about not doing it, I think about my daughter dying in a hospital, and what she went through, and I can't not do it. Like, there is no choice, and there is no, I don't
A
even know how to.
beaver must dam. If you're a beaver,
Yeah, but that,
to me, it's not like you say, today I don't want a beaver. I don't want to go dam,
I
right?
agree. But what I was getting at is, a lot of people's purpose comes from pain. And I don't know what a beaver's purpose comes from. I don't know if, like, I've talked to you about this before in the past.
I
Like,
think it comes
maybe
from
the
pain
first.
and anguish, just because if you
Yeah,
don't do it, maybe we can go into reflection now. But the thing is, you
yeah.
think about human beings,
Excuse me.
right? If I tell you today, you need to stop breathing, what happened to you? What will happen
Uh,
to you if I tell you to stop breathing?
for forever.
Even
Like,
for like 2 minutes or with
you
five
know,
minutes,
yeah. I mean,
you're
things
gonna
has
be in
happened.
pain. You're gonna be
Yeah,
in pain. You're gonna be gasping for air. If I'm gonna put
right.
a back over your head, and I'm gonna choke you from being able to breathe, right? You're gonna
Right.
be in pain. To me, that's purpose. Purpose is what you had to do. You cannot stop it. You want to do
I agree.
this like every moment of every second of your life. You cannot stop. That is what your purpose. But it feels good to breathe, don't you think?
It does, and then it also feels incredibly painful to not breathe. And
But if
like
you're
Paul,
if that's your purpose, why would you want to stop?
it's not that I want to stop. It's that I guess what I was getting at with that point is, like Paul had mentioned something similar himself when to the author Tracy Kidder that was writing about him. Like he's seen, whenever he thinks about not flying, around the world and helping people all day long and giving up his own children at home and never
That's
seeing
not
his
him.
wife. He was like, all I think about is the mental images of that are seared in his brain of those people that are suffering in the world that he wants to go help. And
Right.
he's like, and I can't not act, right? Like that was what I was bringing up, is like, for me,
Right. I
like
mean, to me, I
whenever,
don't think that's a bad thing at all. That's my point. My point is not a bad thing, because if you have to breathe, you will breathe. If you
yeah,
have to go around and do whatever that's you need to do to feel alive, you will do it. There's no one can judge you for being who you are. You cannot say, hey, you're a stupid beaver. You're just a rodent in the water. From an
right,
ego's perspective, look at me. I have wings and I can fly and I have sharp talons and you know beaks, whatever. I'm the majestic eagle. Right? I can't be you. I
right,
can't be that majestic ego. I have to be me. It's not like, oh, I should have a family. I should have a wife. I should have whatever. I just can't do it. You think about it. I mean, it's just the nature of things, and
yeah,
it's not bad for the beaver to say, okay, that's just who I am. I have to do what I have to do. You do what you do, right? I can't do what you do. Regardless if the whole animal jungle tells me that the eagle is a king or the lion is a king or whatever, or the fox is better or the whatever. If I'm a beaver, I cannot be those things. And if
right.
I try to be those things, I'm basically giving away my identity and be something else. The only thing I can do, the only thing result for me is I'm going to suffer more.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I mean, like I like,
So you want him
yeah,
to come back and be a good husband and a good doctor like everybody else, right? He's gonna be suffering in a miserable life. You're
I
telling
agree.
him not to breathe. You're telling fish to be out of the water. Why are you staying in the water? I mean, it's what's in the water. It's dirty. You shit and you pee in your own pool, right? Come out the water and play with us. Look at us. We're better than you. Why
Right.
don't you get out the water and climb a tree like me? Yeah, I'm a monkey, and climb a tree like me. I can see everything. I can see, into the pond. Whatever that anyone can tell you, but it's not yours, regardless of how good it sounds, how good it may be, it's not you, it's not befitted for you, you're gonna suffer.
Right.
Telling you to not breathing, telling humans not breathe. It is hard. It is going to be the most, torturous thing because
It is, yeah.
I mean, think about it.
No, I mean, you're right. I mean, I don't disagree at all. I mean, it's it
I mean, to to
yeah,
to do to kill somebody by suffocating them is a violent death.
yeah, it's pretty brutal. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, you're spot on. I mean, it's like the reason why I wrote the reflection title, The Power of Purpose, because it's just incredibly powerful to push us forward.
It's the only thing that it drives you.
Right.
Purpose
It is.
drives you. So the more you understand about the purpose, the easier the decision will be because hey, I'm a
There is no
beaver. I don't.
decision. Yeah,
There is no
there,
decision,
right.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's the thing. That's the power of purpose. It's very, very powerful. It's magnitude powerful than we can ever imagine.
yeah. I mean, it really is. I mean, and like you hear this guy's life, right? And and as you're reading the story, and the stuff that he did was so not scalable, and it didn't make sense to anybody, right? Like, and it's stuff that you're like, none of this, like, that's great, Paul. Like, keep flying to Haiti every single, you know, week, month of the year or whatever, and spending all your time down there and doing whatever you're doing. But like, you're never going to make a dent beyond whatever you're doing, because like, it's not scalable, is what people would tell him. And slowly but surely over time, like, that's the power of purpose. Like, people start to go, oh, all right, like, you made a little headway here, you made a little headway there, like, you did this here, you did that there, and you're like, I start to see it. Like, and then when people finally start to see what you've been working on and what you've been doing, like, it usually comes a long time down the road where you're like, yeah, that's great. Like, I mean, I appreciate the help, like, and I hope that this gets easier to be able to do my purpose, more. And that's the compound effect of doing it every single day. But at the end of the day, like, people aren't supposed to understand your purpose. Like eagles aren't supposed to
You're
look
not
at beavers and
supposed to.
go,
You're not supposed to
why are you doing
understand that
that? And then,
somebody else
yeah,
is right, because you're
but
talking about do you understand why the sloth does what it does? Do
no,
you
but
understand why the beaver does what it does?
but here's the cool thing is after years and years and years of the beavering, they have this beautiful dam that gets built up, right? And then all of a sudden
And they say,
these salmon are
"Oh,
and
the
then yeah, and then
salmon, the deer, the bears.
yeah,
Hey, thank
like,
you for
oh,
the
I get it.
salmon,
Yeah,
right?"
yeah, yeah. I see
And
why you're beavering, yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
But that's the
yeah.
thing is, if you listen to the voices of the masses, you would never have that beautiful dam. You would have never
Right.
have a person that's make a big dent into the world, that when everybody tells him that he won't make much of an influence, of an
Right.
impact on anything. What are you doing over there, right?
Just got to do it every day. I mean, like, and
But the
that's
thing
true.
is, to me,
Bird
the
by
thing
bird.
is, I don't think he's suffering at all. I think he's having a blast
Oh, I think he is. Yeah.
doing doing what he's supposed to do when other people are looking. Just for example, if somebody is I don't know, like a rabbit, looking at a beaver, right? The beaver has to go and chop down all these things and swim and put all these things to create them. That is a miserable life from the
Right.
rabbit's perspective.
Yep.
Take what, like, maybe somebody who is afraid of water. I don't know who, whatever that is. You think about it, for that animal's perspective, that is the most, like, painful life from his perspective. But from the bee perspective, it's the best life. You understand? Because you look
Right.
at this doctor, everybody's judging him based on what? What is your point of reference for judging him? To say, well, that's not a good life. Who are you comparing to? Hey, this is king of the jungle. You compare, the beaver isn't. So the beaver needs to do something else that's different,
Right.
right? That the beaver need to have a pride of beavers, and have a family knit group and go hunt together instead of building dams all day long. I
Yeah.
mean, the beaver is useless. From what point of reference, from what point of perspective are you doing comparison?
Yeah. I mean, you're doing it from your own. I mean, you're doing it from,
From somebody else's perspective, that's not even,
it's
you
not,
know,
well, it's not even from somebody else's perspective. I would say if you're questioning an eagle flying around and why they do what they do, then you probably don't have a purpose yourself. Because if you have a purpose yourself, then you
then
go,
you wouldn't
I
care
don't
about
care. Like,
anybody else's purpose.
you go, I get it. Fly, bro. Go do your thing. I mean, I'm not gonna ever encourage somebody to not, to live their purpose. Like, if anything, I'm gonna say, I get it. Like, just live it. Like, I don't get your purpose, but like, I get the idea of why you're doing what you're doing, and just go do it. Like, like bird by bird, man. Like take it a day at a time, and put one log in front of the other on the dam, and I'll check back in 10 years and see where you're
I
at.
mean,
Like,
you are a tennis player, right? To other people, playing tennis is torture.
it could
I
be,
mean,
yeah.
it is what it is. To
Right.
me, and you can call me on this, but I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now, from what I see, my observation is asking people to read is a torture,
It really is. Like, you
right?
actually,
Call me out if you want, but this is what
no,
I
no,
observe. It's
I
like,
actually
oh,
agree.
I have to read this shit.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like, it's funny when it is funny when you recommend something to somebody that would actually help them, but like that's when you know whether or not they're serious about it or not. When they're like, oh yeah,
It's
no,
torture.
right,
It's
like,
torture for them.
right, yeah. I mean, like, I hate to say this, but my own book that I wrote, right? Like, I have some of my best friends, a lot of my best friends like read it, and I appreciate them doing that. Some of the people that I would consider some of my closest friends haven't. Hell, some of my own family members haven't. Of like when I say family members, I mean like my sister, or something like that. And I'm not saying that she's a bad person. She has her own stuff that's going on, but like people always say they want to know about people's lives, right? Like, and even when you spend a year of your life writing down a story for somebody to be able to understand, and take their own time and consume it at whatever pace they want to consume it at, and they don't, and you're like, well, I mean, I know where I stand, you know, like, I mean, if you really cared about, like, you know, like you're right. It's like one of those things where if you truly want to learn something, like, I mean, there's ways to go do it. Like, and you're right. Learning is painful sometimes. And people, you know, it kind of calls people out on the carpet,
My
you
point
know,
is that different
do it or
people
don't.
have different genetic makeup, and that makes them who they are. And you cannot be something else you're not made up of. It's
Yeah.
just going to be different, and you're not gonna like it. I mean, you're talking about putting a tree in a box and putting it in oxygen. It's gonna die.
Yeah.
You put me in a box and you remove oxygen to put carbon dioxide only, I would die. Right? It just
Yeah.
depends on your makeup, your DNA. That makes who you are. You have to follow that path. That is being laid out for you. You don't get to choose it. You don't get to choose how you're being formed, what you're made up of. You're gonna have
Right.
to be and manifest, right? It's called the manifestations of your being. You have to manifest that for you to feel alive. You
Right.
cannot say, because this and that, I'm gonna judge people for doing something that's different from me. If you do that, right? For first of all, you don't understand it yourself. Because if you do understand purpose, your own purpose, you understand that, hey, I have my own purpose. That means that guy also has his purpose, whatever it is. I may not understand it, but I know that I have a purpose. That means he has his own purpose.
Hmm.
So, he does his thing, I does my thing. I think in the grand scheme of thing, it's gonna be this ecosystem that we don't see until things are being erected in built, right? Because if the beaver don't dam, right, there's no dam, there's no beautiful pool for salmons to spawn, for bears to eat the salmon, for the bunch of other things that creates an ecosystem, maintaining like the right amount of water for the trees and plants to grow, and whatever the trickle effect is. Because if the beaver doesn't do that, then there's probably like the eagle probably gonna die too, because
Yeah. Yeah.
there's no
I mean,
bats, there's nothing for you to feed. So
we're all dependent on
regardless,
each
if you
other.
can't ask the beaver to be an eagle or a lion or something else.
Right. Not only can you not ask them to do that, you don't want them to. Like, you don't, or her, or any person. Like, like, you don't. I don't want anybody else to live my purpose, because they don't understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I don't want them to understand. Like, I mean, they um that's the whole point. Is it's my burden. I don't call it a burden, but
It's not a burden. To me, it's not a burden at all, because the thing is,
it's
like I say,
my
there's nothing bad about doing your purpose, because you will feel alive when you're doing your purpose. I
right.
like doing this. I like talking about all these things. I like reading. I like thinking. But I'm saying is there are a lot of people, and I see this a lot. When you give them something to think about, right, they get a headache.
Yeah, no, I know. Not only do they get a headache, they just run away. I mean, they're
I mean, why do you
like
think they run away? Because it's painful for them to
it
even
is.
start to process it. Ask you, what is this problem? What do you think? It's like, oh shit, it's all goes to to the gutter, right?
Right.
Because that's the thing is, I like different things. They like different things, right? Further, they're more physical. Like I said, you're a tennis player. Other people look at you and say, hey, that's just too much work, too much of a exhaustive. Effort, physical effort, for
I
whatever
mean,
reason.
I say that about marathoners. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, ultra marathoners, I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, I don't get it. Like, like, what's the point? And they're like, well, you don't get it, and that's fine. Like, like, and I don't want you to get it. Like, because that's theirs. But I agree with you. It is. I know I've been thinking a lot about these the words. It is what it is. These past couple days. I don't know why it's just stuck in my head, and I keep. I don't know. I feel like I've heard it multiple times. Especially with like Luca and daycare and school
hmm
and things that you and I've been talking about, and I feel like it just keeps coming up over and over and over again, and it's like it's it's driving me up the wall. Because it's like that's the anti-purpose,
Yeah,
statement.
but the
Like,
thing is, between
it's
stimulus and
not
response,
supposed.
there's a freedom to choose. So, yeah, I mean, you can't control the negativity of the stimulus.
Yeah,
So you're gonna
but
have to say, well, I don't want to train, nor do I, take the negativity too hard, because
I agree. It's more bewildering to me. It's more of a question that I can't get out of my head of, like, it's almost like an I can't imagine question, where it's like, why do we always say when we hear something bad, I can't imagine? It's like, why do we know when we hear something that isn't right? Like, and we say it is what it is. It's like, why do we just accept, things that are
but when you
okay.
say, we cannot have space travel, right? That's the way it is. Until some guy say,
We
I'm
can't.
I'm I'm stupid.
Right.
I'm stupid. I think I think it's possible. You look at that. I mean, we talked about this before. You look at that Wright brother, right? Human
Mhm.
can fly, but no one told him
Right, right,
that
right.
he
Because he
can't
had
fly.
because he had a purpose. Like, I mean, like, that's the thing, is like, this is I think this is my fascination with this one. Going back to Jim Rohn's, turn frustration into fascination. Is I feel like every time I hear that, there's people that are just denying their purpose. Like, somebody out there has a purpose to say it isn't what it is. Like, like it shouldn't be. Like, and you know why? Because I care about it, and I'm gonna go fix it. Like, like Paul Farmer did, or like, like what you and I are doing, with
Right,
trying
because that's
trying to
that's
you know
and that's essentially what we're doing here.
yeah,
That's what we're doing with company, because we think that that's not the way to go about continue the suffer through life.
yeah, the purpose
And
of
that's why we say,
of
look, for me to tell other people, hey, there is a better way, to me makes me feel good. That's my
right,
purpose, right? I do that. It's like breathing.
right, and we're
I
gonna
mean,
find
I
that
don't
way,
think about it. I don't think about it. I don't ask for anything in return for breathing. I don't ask for me to imagine a day where I can say, hey, I can finally stop breathing. Say, I want to keep breathing forever. I want to
right.
breathe forever. This is
You
how
don't
I
have to take
see
that
my
shit away from
purpose.
me, right,
It's like, it's not about whether or not, like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm suffering. If you are, then you're doing something that's not your purpose. I guarantee you
right.
this. Because for me, it's like I
Yeah.
say, whatever I do, regardless how much I do it,
Mm-hmm.
I feel good and I love it. I want more of it. There's not enough of it. If you are at a point where you are in a pain, or in a kind of a feelings of uneasiness doing whatever you do, and you're yearning for the days for it to stop, then that's
Then stop.
it's not it. Go find something
Right.
else.
Then stop
I
it now.
guarantee you, if you, like I say, I mean, I don't know if I can put it any simpler than breathing. Imagine you stop breathing. Just hold your breath for like 5 minutes,
Right.
or 3 minutes if you want, or a minute if you like me, right? Hold
It
for a
is a good
minute.
analogy.
It's
Yeah.
torture.
No, it's a really
I
good
want to
analogy.
breathe, and
Yeah.
I don't want to stop breathing. Why we say, hey, I'm gonna do this podcast, and I'm gonna do this for like, for 10 years, and I'll stop. Or I'll do
Right.
it for 100 years and I'll stop. Even you say I want to do this for 1,000 years and I stop. You're not. It's not it. You
I
want
agree.
to do something that never ends, and that is when you truly find your specific purpose.
It's an infinite game, right? Yeah.
It's infinite. Infinite doesn't mean 1,000 years from now.
Right.
It's
It
not
never
10 minutes
ends.
from now.
Right.
It's like, you think about it. If you have a choice, and like, not be, bar the sickness and the suffering that you have because of your failed, physicals,
Right.
um, you know, tell you to say, hey, you're gonna live from now until you're 50, and you're gonna voluntarily stop breathing. I have never seen anyone has voluntarily stop breathing whenever there isn't something that is bad happens to them.
Yeah. I mean, hell, I mean, like, you could take that a step further. I mean, with like athletes, when their careers end, um, in whatever sport that they're in, like, I mean, they literally are like, they have their soul sucked out of them. I mean, everything comes to a crashing halt, and they're like, I mean, they want to commit suicide. A lot of them have committed suicide or killed
Mhm.
themselves or something. I mean, like, you're right. Like, when you take that stuff away from somebody, when they care that much about something, it's it.
But that's the
I,
thing. Is like I said, if you are not, you don't, if you don't get to do your purpose, you will die. To
I
me,
agree.
that's like, I mean, like I say, I don't know if maybe I'm not
No, I think it's a perfect
missing
example.
something, but it's like
Yeah.
if I don't get to breathe oxygen, I die, right? I
Yeah.
mean, and if somebody who committed suicide and get depressed, it is because they were forced or told to do something they're not. It's
Yeah.
like taking fish out of water. Whoever it is, like whatever that you do, and if you feel depressed in your life, that's not for you. Gotta find your purpose, what it is. You will feel alive. You wanna live forever.
Right.
Whoever doesn't want to live forever is being forced to do something they don't want to do.
A lot of times you find that though when you're in your most painful moments though too. Like I mean, because
Why do you think? Why do you think you find it? Because you get to the
because it
point where
hurts
and
so
they
much. Yeah.
fuck this.
Right.
I
Right.
ain't gonna do this anymore.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
why pain is 80% of the time gives you the eureka moment and say, "Hey, I'm gonna wake up." It's because you get to the point where you, they put you to the point where you're gonna have to pivot, and this
Mhm.
is where pain gives you because they put you in a corner, right? And they be up to the point where your threshold start to trigger. Say, I ain't. You look at it. You look at life. Yeah, at first, yeah, a few things here I can take it, but to the point where you start breaking and say, I fucking hate this. I don't want to do them.
Right.
This is when you say I'm gonna look for another alternative. This is why pain give you more opportunity to find your purpose is because when you're pushed to the point where you don't want it anymore, there's no more you can take. This is when you say, okay, let's stop taking it and start looking for something
Right.
else. That's why pain drives a lot of the purpose. But like I said before, it's 80%, but that means that's the only thing that drives purpose.
100%. Your what you just were talking about is I was pulling this up here really fast. We'll get to this in the future, but this is from that book, Think Like a Monk,
Uh
train your
huh.
mind for peace and purpose every day. And one of the things that stuck out to me in that book was serve the pain you know best. If you don't know where to start and you're trying to figure out your purpose, just serve the pain you know best. Like what hurts the most, and figure out how to serve that pain until it turns into purpose.
Well,
Like you're
that's the
saying,
one thing
exactly.
is,
Yeah, yeah,
pain is something that people think is going to give you the answer, but
right.
that's not the answer. Pain
No, it's
isn't the answer.
no.
Pain just basically forces you
Yes,
to look for answers. And
exactly.
then when you start looking for it, you find it. So for me, instead of looking for your pain, look for something that is going to give you the feeling alive feeling.
Right. I agree with you. And you could that everybody already has that already right now. I mean, I guarantee you, if anybody spent any 5 minutes of time and you just ask them what are the things you love to do the most, they'll tell you. Like, I mean,
They
and
don't
they'll
know.
be like,
I mean, they
no,
don't
they
know. I
do.
mean,
No, they
to
they know
me,
the things they love to do. They don't know why they love to do those things. Like
exactly.
that's
They don't really know.
no, they don't
My
really
my
know, but I'm
point
saying
is
that
they don't
it's
really know
easier to go
because
that
this
route.
is what I have observed, and like you say, you can call me on it if you want, but I have observed that a lot of people don't take the time to ask themselves who they are and what they want to be and what they want to do. They're being told by the parents, by society, by your
Yeah. Oh
friends,
yeah.
by the TV, by the media. Oh, you should be like this. You should do that. You should do this. This is what I see is a problem.
Yeah.
Most of the people have never took the time to ask themselves those simple questions.
I
That's the
agree.
reason why they don't know. When you ask them, what do you like to do? Um, yeah, I like talking to friends. That's not really it. They just say, well, whatever comes to mind. They never thought about it.
Right.
Like for example, you said it in the past. Like if you go out there and ask people, okay, tell me your top five core values. Who can give you that?
Very
Not
few.
very many. Not very
Well,
many. That's my point. If you
other
don't,
actual other
if
actual
you never
ones. Yeah.
ask yourself what your core values are, how can you tell?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm hardworking. Where did I get
Right.
that from? Or some TV.
Right.
Grits. Some fucking people say, hey, you should go work in my salt mine and mine these things for me so I can make rich. Those are the people who told you that's grit, hardworking is the value because it benefits that person because you go work in my salt mine, you're making me money. I'm just sitting here and counting money. That's why I'm telling you that. That's why I say you never thought about it, because the guy who thought about it said, well, if I tell him, to have like hard working, it's going to make him money, whatever. Well, it's actually making me money.
Right.
So a lot of people are using their influence and power to tell you to be like this or like that and the other is to benefit themselves, not to benefit you. Why would I tell you something to benefit you?
That's a great question. I don't
There's
know the answer to that.
only one reason
To serve my
where
purpose.
I tell you something that benefits you is
Right.
because it also benefits me. That's
what I
the
was going
only
to say.
time.
To serve my purpose.
The point is still, it has to benefit me. If it benefits you, oh, yeah, no big deal. If it doesn't have to benefit you, I don't care. As long as it benefits me. This is how we're made, okay?
Yep.
So no one's going to tell you, hey, you got to be a good listener. You got to be humble. You got to be blah, 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 right? First of all,
excuse me.
First of all, it's not, they tell you to be something because they want you to do something to benefit them. The second thing is they're telling you to be something based on what? Based on somebody else's. Like I said, if I'm a fox or whatever, hey, you're a beaver, you should be like, maybe you should be like a fish or something. I tell you to be a fish,
right.
so you can swim and I can eat you.
Right.
Right. So whatever it is, it's because. But I think that's the thing is, for me to tell you to be something else, right? That means that I'm just taking something arbitrary from something I saw. It has no connections to why you need to be like that. If I tell you, hey, you got to be a good leader. Hey, you got to be a good listener. Hey, you got to be a servant leader, right? Hey, you got to be this humble. You got to be honest. You got to be radical candor. All this stupid shit, right? It's not shit if it matches you. It's shit if it doesn't.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean,
you're asking a fish to climb a tree. You're asking a monkey to swim in the ocean, like under the water.
Right.
You're asking me not to breathe oxygen. You're asking the plants not to take in CO2.
You're asking Chris to not talk.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. It's there's like I said, the title of the reflection is on the power of purpose. I mean, it's very powerful.
I mean, it's very powerful,
and it's also very powerful if you don't have it too. Like, because I mean, other people's.
Yeah, I mean, it goes both ways. You can spiral up or you can spiral down, because if you do things that is who you are and what you do, right? It's going to make your life better. You're going to enjoy your life more. It's going to go one thing. You get better at it. What, like let's say you like tennis, right? And you start to play. Well, when you start to play, you exert more physical. You exercise more. You train more. Well, your body gets better. You play better tennis, right? You play better tennis. You do more. You get body better. You get healthier, right? Spiral up. If you do something that spiral down, well, if you do something you don't want to do, right? It's gonna. When you're talking
worse.
about,
I mean,
I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping, so I can't do more work, and then I get worse my my health, and I can't sleep even more. I can't sleep even if I try to, I think, because my body is kicking me, wake me up because it's painful. Like it have all the aches and pain, right? And I can't sleep anymore. And then I sleep less. Well, it actually caused my pain to get worse, and then I sleep less, right? Because you think about it, it just spiral down, spiral up, or spiral down. So
I agree.
You got to find your purpose, so it spiral up. If you don't find it, it's going to spiral down.
Agreed. I mean, it's really powerful. It's probably the most powerful thing that we have at our disposal.
I mean, to me, that's the only thing. I mean, to me, I've learned that I cannot deny who I am. I cannot, because that's just being stupid.
I agree. I mean, well, hell, I've been thinking about this a lot, actually, because I have a lot of friends that are in the LGBTQ community in general, And you know, you always heard for years and years and years, like, you know, they're like, I just felt like I couldn't be the person that I felt on the inside, on the outside, you know. And when they do finally share that with the world, they feel liberated, and it feels energizing, it feels good, it feels like they're being themselves, you know. I mean, like that, there's not a more perfect example of exactly what we're talking about. Like, you know, if like true can't be true, whatever that is, you know, like then it just
When
kills
you
it.
say
I
true
mean,
can
like,
be true,
yeah,
you're asking me not to breathe.
yeah. I mean,
When Chris can be Chris, you're
yeah.
asking Chris not to breathe.
It puts everything in a different perspective, you know, when people are forced to not be themselves. And that's what we're trying to
That's the
change with
worst.
Clubany.
That's the
Yeah.
worst things in the world,
Right.
right?
Yeah. I mean, that's our mission. That's our purpose for Clubany is to give people a forum to know who they are and to do it on purpose, and then inform businesses with a heart, you know, behind it. Not a you know, like it's, you know, a commerce driven exercise or an outcome driven exercise.
I mean, to live in a
It's
society, commerce is part of life.
yeah,
So the purpose of Clubany is to build people who are aware of their purpose.
right,
And because you're aware of purpose, whatever you do has value somebody, and all you have to do is
right,
exchange those values. Because
exactly,
if somebody, you know, really grows potatoes, and somebody has a grinder of potatoes, right? They get, hey, you know, you grind some of my potatoes, I give you some potatoes. I
right.
mean, whatever it is. I mean, that's the thing is there's no such thing as non-valuable effort.
No,
Some Any effort is going to be valuable to somebody somewhere
I,
at some point.
I just finished this book yesterday. It's called Conscious Business. I was gonna send it to you, but I'll just tell you now. You should really check it out. It was really good. The book's called Building Values Through Values, and I really enjoyed it because it's very much in line with what we're trying to do. I think we're
Mm.
already there, but I also just I did find some new little nuggets in there that I personally really enjoyed, and I figured I'd share with you because it's a really good book. It was interesting.
Yeah.
But that said, though, I probably I need to probably get going actually because I got a few other things to do before this get changed before this meeting. But unfortunately, I have to go run for a train. But it's okay. I like this train, so this train aligns with my purpose, and that's good. But any final thoughts for the day?
Not much. Like I say, if you stop breathing, you know what happens. It's like it's your purpose is
Sucks.
like that.
Yeah, it sucks is what it is. So
Exactly.
I agree. So the question we can leave for everybody is what are you doing when you feel the most alive in this world, you know, and go dissect that. Go chop that up to its bits and tiny pieces and figure out what the essence of that is, and you know, and go do it on purpose. Um,
Mhm.
so thanks for joining, and we will see you all here again soon.
Right. Sounds good. See ya.